which they're always claiming is changing. It's just the covered excuse for bioweapons operations that are going on. So it's a very sophisticated topic.
Yeah. Something about it expanded to like pneumonia, like all the STDs. I mean, it was like a huge, huge situation. That'd be an interesting one.
It's just a general cover name. And then Big Pharma sells a bunch of drugs to people that are like chemo drugs that kill them.
Yeah, AZT was actually like the #1 causing killer for liver. Like your liver would fail if you took AZT back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, side note. This is actually kind of a combination of questions, but it's along the same topic. It's from Blade Runner and Authoritarian Hater. So when I tell sheeple about aspartame and smart meters, they all look at me like I'm nuts. So their answer to my aspartame warning is, yeah, right, I feel fine. I don't have rashes, headaches, etc. So how do I explain it? The same with the smart meters. They don't believe me, and they say so, and then they tell me to prove it. And it seems to me like they just want to contradict the idea that it's so out there.
Sure. They've been given hypnotic programming. This is on record through the television. They're in a near dreamlike state. When you upset them out of their trance state, they get upset and say, prove it. And even if you prove it, they don't want to hear it.
Right.
I mean, it's admitted aspartame is causing all these medical problems. It's not debated. Back in the 80s when they approved it, they knew that. It's not debated there's a world government, but they'll still laugh at you and say it doesn't exist, even though it's in the newspapers. And people like that are just damaged goods. You got to move on past them because they're so afraid at a subconscious level, and they've been so programmed, they're going to put up a defense. It's like an obsessive, compulsive thing. And a lot of them think you're showing off when you try to warn them, because they would never try to warn anybody. They've got such a low self-image that they don't care about warning others. So they think you're showing off to them and like they're pathetic.
Right.
And it's also a childlike delusional, where they think if they deny something, magically it goes away. So there's a lot of psychological things, and they are sad little victims that we got to triage them. We try to warn them. Don't feel bad when they attack you. Move on to the next zombie. Because some zombies have not succumbed to the full zombiosis yet. Okay? And so you just have to move on from that person to the next person. Okay, this one I can't help. I've got to move on.
That's awesome. Yeah, keep moving forward. I like that.
But there's not just zombies. Then there's vampire control agents, to use a popular term, to use something popular, who are like into the evil. They know something's going on, like moths to flame. They want to serve it as like Renfield, as if they're going to get out of it by doing that. And they know they can manipulate. They know the public's asleep. And they're swimming around like a vampire eel around the unconscious person, going, don't wake them up, like a little bulldog swimming around them. Loving the fact that they're on, and they can program them, getting off on the power that they have a sleeping person they can manipulate. You understand that?
So many sci-fi movies just popped into my head right now.
Well, I mean, there's so many levels to this, but there's a lot of yuppies and people that are into like, oh, I can make money and be powerful in the system, but they're asleep at another level as well. Right. It's only master, social engineer level that has the whole image in their mind.
It's a desire for truth that I think people are truly scared of. All right, so this comes from Jisk. He actually wrote an accompanying article for it. I'll reference it here in a second. He says, have you looked into Leo Wanta and these trillions of dollars?
Yeah, not true, not real.
It's not true.
Not true, not real.
Well, there you go. There you have it.
I mean,
yeah.
It's not as real as the Easter Bunny. I mean, it's not as real. I love talking about Easter bunnies. That's a little joke.
You always make me giggle when you say that.
I know, whatever. I overdo it. The point is, it's so ridiculous. It's as real as those Nigerian letters you get in the mail.
Okay. The scamish idea.
Well, maybe they're real. I mean, I've had people call me up and go, hey, I got this Nigerian letter. They're offering me $1 million. I pay them $5,000. They want to believe their ships come in.
Yeah.
And I go, no, that's about a 10-year-old internet scam. It's not real. And I've had distant families say, no, my $1 million is here. I'm sending my $5,000. And then you send your $5,000, and then you get the email back on, oh, that wasn't quite enough. $5,000 more is needed. And sometimes they do 4 or 5 payments. And you know who they're angry at after they get ripped off?
You, for telling them the truth. They're
not angry at the Nigerian scammer because they always get an email that Prince Habib got arrested.
Of course.
I mean, it wasn't that he couldn't pay. Prince Habib got arrested. People, once they're getting scammed, they just get deeper and deeper into the fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what they want. It's what they get.
This next one comes to you from John, and he says, Alex, did you know that in the big re-education camp PDF that you discovered weeks ago, there was a section where they talk about the Army squatting community centers? Can you clarify what a FEMA DRC, Disaster Recovery Center, actually is? There's actually one located near me.
Well, again, there are real disasters. There's real reasons for this. So they kind of cluster real issues of hurricanes, earthquakes within it. That's part of it. And then it just has takeover of local government, gun confiscation. It's all, so there's some legitimate functions, and that's how they always sell it. Kind of like the Army does Jaws of Life for car wrecks. Like, well, are you against the Army being here? They're just helping this poor man.
Yeah.
Are you against the Air Force spraying mosquitoes in Florida? That's our military getting the job done. So there's just this mission creep where it's just an acclamation, and they do things that they think are going to be popular up front. So the troops feel good being in the community. Right. The troops being brainwashed too. So it's just a conditioning process for the police, the military, the public. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah. Well, this next one actually comes to you from Freedom Angel. What do you know about Project Athena? How come Catherine Albrecht never talked about it being from MIT, as she had some dealings with them?
I have no idea. You'll have to look into this. I have.
Okay, we'll start that question.
Yeah, I have. Might as well ask me about Lucky Charms or something.
Sometimes they jump over the rainbow.
Yeah, no, I mean, all that was Greek.
All right. Well, this next one comes to you from Tori, and she says, why do some states like Texas have state guards, and how powerful are they in relation to the police departments, the regular military?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, you kind of touched on that today in today's show. I heard you say something about state police or something to that effect. So, well, I mean, I'm actually trying to work on a piece on this. It's funny that they asked that question. That's the original vestigial shadow of the state militia. Because all the state militia was, they demonized in the news, was a posse or a civil defense. So that if the sheriff who's elected needs a group of people for fires or for whatever, he can go around and find out, or she can go around and find out whoever they think's good and whoever's willing to get something done. Hey, you know, you got bulldozers. There's fires coming this way. Get over here. You know, get on the radio. Get on local radio, TV. Back in the old days, you know, ride on your horse. Hey, get down here. We need help. You know, get your buckets. The town's on fire. And so states have guards, and then they also have the National Guard. Originally, it was state guards, and they set up National Guard. It was under the governors. Now they basically federalized those where they're federal, so they're even getting rid of the state having its, quote, National Guard. And so it's really what's left of the militia. Awesome. That's actually really informative. The Mitstier E is this user. What do you think about Romney saying no congressional approval needed to bomb Iran? And he's not alone in saying that. Hey, he likes Obama's health care, you know, saying he says he's against it, but he helped write it. But we got to do what the Supreme Court said, and the IRS taxing us isn't a tax. And it's a standard NDAA. He supports secret arrest, drone killing, endless war, warrantless wiretappings, open borders, carbon taxes. He's bought and paid for by the exact same people. Bain's given double the money that he's part owner of and used to head to Obama than they even gave him. Mitt Romney. So, I mean, Mitt Romney it's just the fix is in. If they don't steal the election, they don't need to. Yep. They got Mitt Romney. They win whether they steal it, whether Obama gets in, whether it's Mitt Romney. I mean, Mitt Romney might as well be, I got an idea. How about Mitt Romney be VP for Obama? You know, Joe Biden can get out of there and we'll just, I mean, it's just, but it's like, but we're beating Obama. We're going to get Mitt Romney in there. Yeah, of course. Did you see that cartoon we had on INFOWARS today? It was the sheep, and it was like, whichever way you choose, and it all funneled into the same place. I didn't see it, but yeah. Fits into that. Vaughn comes to you, and he asks, Alex, I'm curious to get your take on the inevitable emerging cloning technology and the implications on society. Well, clones have inherent genetic problems, and it's all part of humanity playing God. Just like an iPhone has tech built into it that you pay for when you buy it to spy on you. The globalists have said with their medical tyranny that they're not going to give us any, you know, like they sterilize us, but then come and say we have a technology so you can have a child. Right. But then they're going to get rid of traits that are bad in the child. That means build into it what they want. And so this whole thing is a medical mad scientist tyranny, and it's strap yourselves in. We're going to see some very, very crazy times, but we should do a whole special on cloning, because we're already eating cloned meat, milk from cloned cows,
They're doing cross-species, weird clones. I mean, the sky's the limit. We're living in, this planet is like a giant biological weapons experiment or something.
Yeah, you don't know what's real anymore. Glitch says, as a child, I read Prisoners of Power. It's a sci-fi book written by a Russian duo. And the brothers back in the night, they wrote it in the 1960s. Since then, I've read the book many times, discovering new aspects of the world that they painted. In 2010 and 2011, the biggest sci-fi movie ever made in Russia came out in 2 parts. The name of the movie was Inhabited Island. And essentially, the story parallels many of today's trends. So probably some of the most notable of them are radiation towers affecting people's minds, propaganda, brainwash, etc. So I'm not sorry, I kind of lost my question. Can we find other articles that are like that? Is there any other like sci-fi movie or anything else that you've seen? I've noticed articles that, you know, we see a cartoon that it's painted the future, etc.
Yeah, I mean, all these movies and culture show a dystopia. It's like, just get ready for it. That's what happens. In the future, the government says how many kids you can have. In the future, you're going to be watched and controlled because eugenicists developed most of the modern technologies we have. They steered them. They controlled them. The robber barons and royalty believed in all this, so they've built the culture we're in, and this is the world they're taking us to. I haven't seen that film or read that book, but it sounds intriguing.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll follow up with that, too. Everyone, this is from Freedom Spear, and he says, everyone knows that having preventative medicine, surgery, and dental work, whatever, is not an inalienable right. And we actually touched on that in one of the last Ask Alex segments. Moreover, passing a law that mandates purchasing such services, products, anything else is completely unconstitutional and very illegal. We've covered it. What organization or enforcement arm has the authority to arrest the Supreme Court justices responsible for this illegal activity?
Congress can defund them. Congress, it's not really a separation of powers the way we've been taught. Congress is dominant. Then there's the courts. Then there's the executive. So there's a separation of powers, but because Congress is 500 plus people, it's got the real power. And that's why the globalists have sold it out and gotten it to be weakened and transferred into 9 justices they can control and 1 president and then a bureaucracy. But it's up to the states to nullify and not follow and fight. It's up to us individually, because it's not like they're trying to give free health care to people that others pay for. These are eugenicists, tyrants that are now using this to control people. So that's the main issue with the healthcare takeover.
The next one is from Thomas, and he says...
And what's the bottom one? We'll do this page, we'll do the other half tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We'll do the 24, that's just about half.
Yeah, we'll finish this page.
I said I'd do 50, but my goodness gracious.
I know, you're good.
Hey, I'm moving quick, though.
I'm very impressed. We should
I feel like I'm being interrogated, though.
Where's the light? Right over your head. If you don't, this is from Thomas, and he says, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it, which I think is valid. My question is, you started talking about Vietnam, Yugoslavian wars, etc., and what was the real cause, I was wondering? And I understood the breaking news about the New World Order every day, but I would love to hear a history lesson from your perspective. So.
Well, I mean, it's not that the communists in Vietnam were good guys. Ho Chi Minh came to the CIA and the U.S. government and said, I want to set up a system with you, a free system. And they said, no, we're going to have the corrupt narcotics traffickers in the South still run things. We're going to prop up, you know, the Indo-China French model. And so they turned against us. And CIA staged bombings to blame the North to get the war going and put advisors in 1960, really 59. And the rest is history. But it doesn't mean, you know, the communist, Chinese then backing the northern Vietnamese. That doesn't mean they're good. It's like, just because our government's corrupt doesn't mean Iran's good. It's like corruption across the board. As for Yugoslavia, I mean, you have Tito, who was a balancing force. They get rid of him. They break it up.